This is Katie. There's Doug. We can have 4 people in, and we can rotate. Are you there, Doug?
I think so.
I see ya.
I'm trying this on my Chromebook tonight. We'll see how that works out.
I am doing it from my Chromebook, and I did it last time for my Chromebook, and it seemed to work just fine.
What kind of Chromebook do you have, Katie?
An Acer. I can't tell you. It's touchscreen.
Yep, that's what I have.
I saw your keyboard for a second. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Peggy, sorry. I missed the sim chat this afternoon on air. Thanks for posting the story 5K. And I love talking about AR. Oh, there's our friend from India. Goomster. I can never say it. Hi. Welcome to our chat. Can you hear us? Yeah? I can't hear you.
I don't think your microphone's on, Boswa.
Peggy says her ears perk up every time she sees my name. Well, I try to be on a lot, so hopefully your ears perk up a lot. Okay, and I know Adam is joining us. And I think it's Christy, right? Christy. I think that's who that is joining us. We will get people in and out since Blab is really more open than Google Hangout, so we may see people coming and going. But tonight, Christy, I was right. Whew! I'm a teacher, and I'm really bad with names. I have to tell you. I have to stare at the kid for a moment before I go, oh, yeah, you are. Usually I call them by their older sibling, which is really bad. Hi, Katrina, and we do have some seats. We still have 2 seats open, so feel free to join. We can rotate people in and out as we talk about AR. There's one person. Katrina's on 2 Blabs. Yep, now I can hear you. Long time no talk. You been so busy?
Yeah. Is it audible?
Yeah, we got audio. We hear you. How's it in India? There goes Peggy giving us high fives. How's it in India?
In fact, Katie, I was writing a mail to you, considering and expressing my all for whatever I learned from your end, which has taken me to greater heights in India. I have been recently awarded with a prize. You might have seen it in Google+. It was on education for the benefit of the teachers.
That is awesome.
I thank you, and I also going to present a paper on the important tools that are available on the net for the benefit of teachers, and it has been accepted to be presented in an international seminar to be held shortly. And awesome. All inspiration has come from you and people like you.
That is good to hear. I'm glad I could help. And if you need any more help, just holler.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, Adam is over there throbbing, it looks like, with his logo. Can you hear us, Adam? Maybe not. Is he pulsating for you, Doug? Okay. Maybe it was just me.
I can bubble him. Maybe I can bubble his pulses down a little.
And I mentioned this to Adam a few days ago.
I'll bet his camera is trying to work.
Yeah.
Maybe. You always have trouble with that. He can hear us? Okay. Well, he always has trouble with his camera.
Perhaps he's having a stroke.
After the day or the week he's had, maybe. Okay, so what's new in your world, Doug?
Well, I'm now using 4 augmented reality platforms in my classroom.
Or
Yeah, I'm using Augvat, I'm using Flipper, I'm using Layer, and I'm using Dacry. And I found that they're all really good at different things. So I'm taking advantage of that. I also heard interesting, I had some people in my school district working with a professional development crew in Apple in our state. And they're very interested in what I'm doing. But I heard they're saying that no one's ready for what I'm doing yet. So I'm not quite sure what that means. But I just thought that was an interesting, I don't know, I really don't know what that means. So
I don't know what that means either. I've been told that a couple of times, that I'm above or beyond where people want to be at the moment. I'm out in La La Land, and I need to get back to reality, and I have to tell them this is my reality. So,
Like-
and I'm trying to pull them with me.
if I'm here doing it, how could you not be ready?
Yeah.
Doesn't make much sense. So, but you know, whatever. You just keep plugging on, and you can put that in the eating crow drawer for a future date. Serve it up to them with a side of pasta or something like that. So,
Okay, did I just lose people? I did. Okay. Well, how's your wall of presidents coming? Or line of your
that's
timeline of
coming
presidents?
good. I think I'm going to turn that project over to students.
That's a good idea.
Because it's very small chunks of work, which will be good for students to engage. And then I've got some other tongs in the fire with some stuff I'm doing in social studies on world history. Like my Chichen Itza pages are coming along nicely, and some of those things. So.
Well, I get asked a lot to create stuff. And tonight, an example was the Quiver map that they have that turns into the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would be so cool if we paired that up with the 3D, augmented 3D landmarks. Wouldn't that be awesome? And then kids can pin, or there he is again. Oh.
Do you mean the 360, the 360s?
Well, and 360s. There's 3D landmarks from around the world and the 360s. I thought that would be cool to pair those up with the map,
Yep.
and the kids can mark where they're at. There's Adam.
Figured it out.
Was it your camera?
Yeah, it was something in the settings. So, hi everybody.
Okay.
Looks like you've got a haircut.
Just a little bit more stress out of the way.
Peggy, one of these days you just have to join on the video conversation. She says, I love your strategy, Katie, and we need to see what's possible by someone who is doing it. So I love to model, and Doug loves to share what he's been doing, and we have others in the group that are sharing as well. And there goes our India guy. So if you are watching, feel free to join our group. And I put the link at the top of the chat. So if you go all the way to the top, there's a link to our group. And there's a lot of people sharing what they're doing in the world of augmented reality and education. And then Peggy also has a question. How will you turn the project over to the students? Tell us more. So how did you turn your president's project over to the students, Doug?
Well, it'll be a combination of them researching various parts of, those particular presidents. And then I'm going to actually let them design the augmentations. And there's, some of them might have fun actually using the tool sets. We're on iPads, and some of these tool sets don't work very well on iPads. They're meant to be working on laptops, which students do not have. So, but that's just an implementation detail that they would benefit from a computer science standpoint. But if they're not doing that, that's fine. The important part is them doing the research and designing the depth of the augmentation. And then it lives on with them long after they've gone. I've got all these historical timelines hanging out all over the place, and kids are doing it. They're massive. I mean, we're talking back to dinosaurs all the way up to Bill Clinton. So the amount of information you can include in something like that is huge. So these projects, these timelines can last for, literally years of school years. And it just becomes kind of a legacy of students that are working on it, and it gets layered and deeper and deeper and deeper, and more layers of contributions by students over and over again. It's interesting. And since all this stuff changes, this week they announced there's water on Mars. Our facts are all changing all the time too. So it's going to be interesting, and its legacy is meant to outlive me and their short, quick tenures as junior high school students here. So we'll see what happens.
One of the projects that I do with my 8th graders is I want them to show their passion, what they're passionate about. So we do a iGeek project, and they create a presentation to go with their what they geek. And they create, they take a picture, they physically make a sign, and they take a picture holding their sign. And then it's augmented. So when you scan their picture, they're holding their presentation. So it's an interactive presentation. And I have all these pictures, and I started this 3 years ago, all these pictures in my classroom, and the kids, coming up know about it. And they're like, when do we get our chance to do it? So they have, and I had done this with Layer and Daiquiri, but now I'm out of space. So now I have to switch it to my favorite platform. I have like 80 students that do this, Adam. Every year. 80 to 90 students. So when they scan their picture, I have this huge wall. It goes around, or this huge line going around my classroom, and the kids come in and they start scanning the pictures, and they're like, when do we get to do that? So I save that for my 8th graders. That's their legacy when they leave. And they come back and visit me. They're in high school, and they're coming back and visit me to see who is on my wall and who's left their mark in my classroom. So that's one of the projects I do, and they love it. And it also, it represents who they are and what they love and their passion. And hopefully, and it helps them, keep that passion alive.
That's the connection that you have to make with them.
Yeah, and it's built a relationship with them. Like I said, they still come and visit me. They're seniors and juniors in high school, and they come back and look at the wall or look at the line, and it's been a great tool. Okay, woohoo, Peggy. Let's see. Question: what does it mean to design the augmentations create the triggers? I think she wants to know what kind of, are they doing videos, or doing they 3Ds, or doing multiple things for the augmented part? Doug?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I'm looking for my headphone jack.
We'll come back to that question. She also says that sounds like a brilliant project, a timeline. iGeek project, love it. That is so cool. We need to take up a collection for you, Katie. What a powerful memories for them. Okay, ready for your question?
Yep.
What does it mean to design the augmentations, create the triggers? I think she's asking what the augmented part is. Are they making videos, 3D objects, interactive presentations?
Well, that's the whole, for me anyway. You guys might feel different. That's the money shot of all of this is figuring out what the next level of learning is going to be when they hold their device up to an image or a trigger to scan it. The image itself has something to give, but this is all about deepening their experience and extending or augmenting what they learn. And that is, that's the whole point of having them do this. And I'll have a kid look at a picture of something, let's say a timeline for, I don't know, 1800, and I'll ask them to ask the picture a question, and the question's going to be, what do you want to know about me that you don't know by looking at me? And when they start to answer that question, they've just extended their knowledge and made the experience deeper, and really gives purpose for augmented reality to begin with. That's exactly what we're all trying to do with this, is to deepen and extend learning for kids. And when they look at the face of Thomas Jefferson, and he looks back at the student and says, here's what I'd like you to know about me, they have to go find out, and they have to go and find out what those things are. And that really makes this very, very powerful. Unfortunately, it turns out that Copley, the artist who painted Thomas Jefferson's presidential portrait, which is the one that's a copy of hanging on my wall, somebody else has already augmented that. So when I when I shoot Daiquiri up on it, I get some other interesting things happening. But I think I have some ways to solve that problem, but it's interesting.
It's all about the safety and security, right?
There you go.
That's the whole point of, that's the other aspect.
Yep, so far Jefferson's the only one that's been a problem with, but we'll figure it out.
Have you tried scanning them with Aurasma?
No, I haven't. That's an interesting idea, though. I should try that.
I would try that to see who else is augmented, if it's an open channel.
Yep.
Just in case somebody grabs the wrong app and starts scanning those.
Yep. And I think most of these are actually printed copies of the official presidential portraits. They're wrapped in banners and things like that, but enough for the recognition engines to actually pick up on them. So interesting.
Sometimes if you just drop in like the American flag or something like that, you'll just off that trigger and you'll be able to get a different experience.
Yep, half his face or his nose or something like that will work.
Yeah. Put a hat on him.
Okay. We have some questions. Peggy wants to know, and this is for you, Adam, why did you create AugThat?
Oh, that's a good one. Thanks. So being in education for all the years that I've been in, and it's the same philosophy that we're all trying to do, is to engage our students, to make that, it's not just for the students, but for the teachers. We want to excite the teachers as well and make the learning and the teaching experience as exciting as the kids find it as what they're getting. And looking at other platforms, and it's great that there's so many platforms and that other people can create. But when I created AugThat, I wanted to make it that it's an easy tool for teachers and students to utilize, so that you don't have to worry about, is my trigger image set up? Can I upload my 3D image? Teachers don't have time. Teachers literally have no time to prepare. And that's part of the problem that we see in augmented reality, is when they have to create their own materials to use augmented reality, they have no time. So I created it to make it an easy tool, simple, fun, engaging, and academically rigorous, and yet flexible enough for teachers to create their own lessons and not a script. So, yep, that's why I did it. So thanks, Peggy, for asking me.
And I have to tell you, I get comments from teachers all the time. They love that it's already made, and they love that it is safe if they make stuff, that they're not going to have the problem of somebody hijacking their trigger and, putting something that shouldn't be there. So I get that all the time from teachers.
That's awesome. That's the whole goal too, is to create that safe environment without open channels. But the thing that I was going to say to you, Doug, is that when you get into those projects and you have those, you're utilizing the same picture that is out there, and it's the most common picture, and that other people have probably augmented. If it comes to us and we get more than one image, we actually change it up a little bit and reset it for them, for the teacher as well, so that if somebody else has that image, you still get that same experience. But
Adam, you know I really appreciate what you're doing and I like your product, but in some respects, I'm your worst nightmare because I want 120% control, not only of what I augment, but of my triggers. 90% of all my triggers, I make myself. And this has been just kind of an exception that I decided to order these presidential portraits. I knew that the possibility was there that I'd run into maybe a what we call a collision here, right? And there are a lot of teachers in my school who would be great, who are very interested in not having to do all this kind of creative and legwork. But for me, that's the passion and the joy and the creative part of my job is doing all of that stuff. And I feel so empowered by being able to create my own triggers and my own augmentations, or to direct my children to make their own augmentations. It's very fulfilling for me.
And I'm right there with you, Doug. I create probably more than 90% of my own triggers, just because I that's my passion and I like to do it. And now that I finally got the app opened in my school, which took moving a mountain, I have a board just for my STEM class because it's a new class, and I have my my triggers I've made up there so that kids can go and scan them and use it, and they have complete access to it. I also, for like the 3D models, I put a hook on the board so that the kids can pull those off and go sit down and use them. And I did find laminating material that's not glossy, and it works so well. So I laminated my stuff. But if you have to find the kind that's not shiny, the glossy. I got it from Amazon, and it works really well, and I don't have to worry about kids tearing up my triggers because color ink is very expensive, and I like it in color. It doesn't have to be in color. It doesn't have to be on white paper, but I just like it that way because it just makes my room brighter because they're on display and I use them. So the kids go right to that. They sit down, they know what to do, and it's been a blessing for me as a teacher.
I noticed that Peggy said that creating triggers can be time consuming.
Yes.
It can be. Creating the augmentations is usually much more time consuming. And I'd say 90% of my triggers are photographs I've taken with my iPad or my phone. Or, you know what, with the certain platforms that I'm using, I can take a piece of graph paper and write 3 words up on it and tape it to a wall. It takes less than 60 seconds, and that's a great trigger for me. In fact, I deliver my geography content that way. So the point is that the trigger really becomes even less than secondary. It just becomes the delivery vehicle for extended content and extended academics there. So I'd create a trigger in 60 seconds or in 5 minutes with a Pages template. I realize not everybody might feel as comfortable, but I don't need to spend a lot of time making triggers. The time put in is really spent in brainstorming and where do I want to go with this and what are my augmentations going to be and how do I make them meaningful and how do I make this purposeful? That's where the energy and the time really goes, I think.
Yeah, same here. I use pictures, or I teach kids how to use like tools such as Google Draw, and I can create a trigger pretty quickly myself. So it doesn't take long to make the trigger. It's getting the content and making those connections to making it meaningful is definitely where it takes me the time to do it. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. And we do have – I saw a question. My screen is starting to fill up.
Our laminator takes 70 minutes to warm up, by the way. So
oh, wow.
Don't feel bad, kid here.
I have a little one for when I was teaching. My dad got me one so that I would have it. Being an elementary ed person, you laminate everything. And that thing lasted for 13 years, and it died this year. And he got me another one. So it was well worth the money. We have a question, and I'm not sure what the name is. It's CECESL3. So once an image is augmented, it can be redone. If you are creating augmented material and you're using an image, you can add different augmented content behind it. And when the kids scan it, they'll get the new material. You can add things to it. I think that's what you mean by redone. So you can change your augmented experience. It doesn't have to be set in stone. I mean, it's not going to be set in stone when you make stuff.
When that question was written, we were talking about different platforms, and I was thinking, maybe they were thinking about, you could take a picture of Katie Ann and use 5 different platforms and create 5 different experiences just from that same picture.
I've done that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that's not what they meant by redone. This question.
Yeah, that's also another way to do it. I've taken a picture of myself and used all the platforms to test them out to see how I like them. So yeah, you can use multiple platforms for the same image. I suggest picking one you like and staying with it, but Doug likes to use all kinds. So if you're doing in different grade levels, like the one could be easier for one grade level than the other. So you just kind of find, it's like, I always say it's like shoes. You find the shoe that fits the need at the time, and that's the one you use.
By the way, I have to report that the maple tree that I augmented last year no longer works. It grew sufficiently enough that its footprint is no longer unique anymore. So I'd have to rescan it and re-augment it. I figured a year was pretty good. So
a year's pretty good for a tree. And somebody answered that question. Depends on the platform you use, if I understand your question. So hopefully we've answered that question. If not, please let us know. There's another question. Excuse me. Peggy wants to know, how do you help teachers to see how AR can be academically rigorous when they think it is just fun and playing?
Pharmaceuticals.
Happy hour now.
Yeah, exactly.
How I do it is I demonstrate a lesson that I use with kids, and I have some kid feedback that I share with them. Kids, they'll be honest. If it's not helpful, they're going to tell you this was a waste of their time, especially at the middle school, high school level. My kids, I almost do AR with them daily, and they expect it because they know they're going to learn something. So I do, especially with the STEM class, I've been using the star sheets. So thank you, Adam. That has helped so much. Teaching or reinforcing, because I'm not teaching it, reinforcing scale, ratios, proportions, because we've been doing scale drawings to build our structures, and they have to build to scale before they can start. They have to make the drawing before they can start building. And the kids were clueless. And then they scanned the animated lesson, and they're like, a light bulb went off. They're like, I get it now, Mrs. Wilson. And they went to town. So it is meaningful. I mean, I didn't have to teach it. They could take it home, and they can go and apply it. And they're applying it in our STEM class. So, yeah, I demonstrate it for teachers. I give them a sample lesson. I have a student feedback. And I still have teachers going, shaking their head, going, "That's not for me." But until they experience it, it won't be for them.
And that goes back to as well. Sorry, Doug, not to cut you off. That goes back to we're always going to see teachers that still use our smart boards as an overhead projector. So that's fine. We're just going to, and as an administrator that I am in the years that that I have in, there's only one thing we can do. We can try to work with them. We can try to train them. We can try to teach them. We can try to empower them. But if they're not going to catch on, then we need to move forward, and we need to train the new teachers that are coming in that are excited. But still remember, like our students, we never leave them to fall between the cracks. We're always going to try to throw some things at them that they may catch on, and it may take time. I did want to say one thing, though. Peggy said something in regards to teachers seeing it as fun and playing. So
we learn by playing.
Yeah, well, you know, we talk about academic rigor, and the whole point is that we are teaching our students to think outside the box, to be able to see the next level. But how do we do that? They do it through having fun and playing. So, you know what? We forget that as educators, that I can remember the teacher who was like in front of the classroom reenacting in full dress the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and a few teachers were there to make it fun, to make it a not playtime, but that provided that academic rigor, that provided the learning experience that we always want. And we need to remember that as educators, that our kids need to constantly be hands-on. And yeah, let's have fun, because there's nothing wrong with having fun back in the classroom instead of worrying about our curriculum maps. We can still follow our maps. We can still follow our curriculum, the materials that we need. But that's why I created all that. That's why, you know, Peggy, I created it for the fun factor in what we have to teach on an everyday basis. And teachers can just pull that out and give that excitement, and it's a spark, and that's what we want. So I'm just, you know, that's just a little of playtime and having fun, but teachers need that as well, and so do students. So,
and what I was going to say, Adam, and I agree with you. I've come to a point where I have to pick and choose where I spend my time and energy. And for me right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to win some converts that I don't think are winnable. These are certain teachers who don't understand this, don't want to understand it, and aren't really willing to engage with this just yet. And you're right about new teachers, but the most effective way that I've had of getting teachers involved with this is by having students that are using AR in my classroom go back to other teachers and say, oh, wait till you see what Mr. Parcher has us doing over there. And that's going to be the extent of which I'm willing to reach them later on. And that doesn't always work. My situation is I teach an advanced algebra class. I don't even know how I ended up doing that. And so those kids come in and they leave, and they take what I'm doing back to their other teachers and with them, and so on and so forth. The rest of my class doesn't spend a lot of time working outside of my classroom. So, but that's going to be my methodology moving forward as far as evangelizing what I'm doing, is I'm going to let the students become the evangelists for it, because I don't have time to be trying to convince things to people who don't want to be convinced anymore. So.
Well, I've done that, and guess what? I've been doing AR for 4 years in my classroom. This year, they came to me, and the science department asked me, is it possible, instead of having a regular science fair, if we could have an augmented science fair this year? I'm like, of course, it is possible. So guess what we're going to do? The kids are going to create videos, and they're going to augment their board so that when people go around to their little setup, they scan it, and they're going to get the kid explaining the experiment and telling, their presentation, and, in quick little bursts, not the entire thing, of course. So they're going to get the information directly from the kid instead of just reading the board. Yep. So it's taken me 4 years to get that going on. And on top of that, the library came to me and goes, can we start having augmented book talks? I'm like, of course we could do that. I would have the kids design the cover so that we're not using the actual cover, so it's unique. And now we're going to do that. So it takes a while. It takes time for people to I call it the dark side, but it's not really the dark side. It's my side. Come to my side and see what we're doing.
Just so you know, it was a principal in a school who stressed out, kind of concerned about getting on timeline, engaging their students, didn't realize how to engage, providing that differentiated instruction. So I actually sent the principal a logo of their school. And I said, do me a favor, just for a week, one single week or however long you want to do it, just scan it every once in a while. And that's all I want. I just want you to see it and what it could do, because they couldn't believe what it did. So every day I changed the content that was on that trigger image, and it was with a new question every day. And every day, what's that?
So that would be fun.
So a week later, after those questions changed, and some of those questions were about them, and some of the questions were just questions out of the blue. And they were just, what is that? So when I talked to the principal a couple of weeks later, I said, so what did you think, of the product? They're like, well, I still didn't understand how I was engaging and how to engage my students. I go, but you were engaged enough to check the questions every day, right? You knew every question. And they said, oh yeah, that's true. And so sometimes I don't even think educators, and they sometimes we don't realize, because we're so busy with everything else that we take for granted, that even the littlest of thing can be an engaging factor. And if it engages a person for 10 minutes or for the whole entire period, what did we do? We made that spark go off in the student's head and in that person's head to say, oh my God, yeah, really, I didn't think of that. And isn't that what the Common Core is about, is to make them think a new way or a different way or deeper thought? So if they're thinking something separate, we've already met a Common Core standard, didn't we?
Yep.
So.
Absolutely.
Good point. Okay, we have some questions and some comments. Our friend from India, he goes, at one time I thought mentioning and felt like pronouncing Ogdat to be as Ogthot, a slightly different accent with the same spelling, remaining the same. So you put a lot of thought into Ogdat. It makes kids think. So that's a good point. Oops, I lost my place. Darn it. Jean says hi. Hi, Jean. You're underneath that comment. Okay, and let's see. Peggy was talking to, I don't know this person. DEFENESTRA. You are, is that you? Oh my God, Doug. It needs to just say Doug.
You know what that word is? That's my favorite word. Defenestra is Latin to throw someone or something out a window.
Okay, well now I'm going to think of you every time I see that word. Okay. Your exception. Creating triggers can be time consuming for teachers, so having some provide is a huge help. Great tip. Don't laminate triggers with shiny laminated paper. Yes. And also, if you take sandpaper and you sand it just a little bit, that also helped. Okay, hang on. I had another question. Where did it go? Christy, if you make a video, just take a still of the first shot of the video as a trigger. Very good idea, Christy. A screenshot of that to be a trigger. Great idea. Peggy says that really is interesting about the maple tree. Definitely agree. It's really helps to show some real examples about how AR is being used academically. Sharing the students' feedback is a great idea. I wanted to make sure other teachers understood what the kids were getting, and the kids can explain it. So that's why I went with that, and that's helped a lot. That's that we're getting an augmented science fair and book talks now. Okay, where did the other question go? Peggy says, but if you only see play and don't see learning outcomes, you are a skeptic. Yes, you could be. We have somebody wanting to join us and they left. Good point there, Peggy. I love the explanation, Andy. What is that person doing? Do you see a person trying to hop on?
We have Kings of JDM who just joined.
Yeah. Well, they keep popping on and off on me. Christy says, I like learning, or I cannot talk tonight. I do have this chat and I cannot speak. I think learning like a pirate has taught us that we need to change it up and be more engaging. And I totally agree. And augmented reality is another way to do that. And I totally agree. Peggy, it's not about the teachers, though. It's about what students need and deserve. A very good point. Where did the question go?
I think she's just responding to some of the dialogue as it's
Maybe.
happening, as we're talking.
Okay.
She makes a comment. So we lose the context after time passes.
Yeah, well, we were talking, and I didn't want to... And this person keeps flashing on me. We got a flasher. Oh, gosh. I'm tired.
Katie.
Well, it's like constant. That's just crazy. Okay, so
Look at all the bubbles. we're going to bubble you right into your flashing. I'm flashing you right now.
well, it keeps this King of JDM keeps popping in and out, and it's like a flash for me, and I don't have time to click on it to accept it.
Mm.
You're not saying I see it.
All I know-
Jean says, I'm only getting audio sometimes due to lousy connection. Maybe that's why this person's trying to join us and has a bad connection. Okay. Any other things going on in the world of AR that you would like to talk about or share? Or if anybody else wants to try and take this open seat? No? Come on. You gotta have more. Oh, I got him.
There he is. Oh,
And he left.
we had a look at his wainscoting. It was good. So let's see. C. Hansen took my kids on a virtual tour of the Smithsonian. They were blown away.
What did you use, Christy, for that? That'd be interesting. Because I know they have online tours. Yeah, I've done that too. The kids really like walking around through their website. Jean says you cracked me up, Doug.
Well, that's what it was. Adam saw it.
I didn't see anything.
I see nothing. I'm tired.
Words of the famous and lately departed Yogi Berra, I didn't even suspect anything.
Okay, well, I had a question that I was going to ask, and the flasher drew me. Gosh darn it. Are there any questions? We have 42 people watching. Are there yeah.
So who are the people, the 7 that are at the top of our screen? Who are they?
They are the ones that have been chatting.
I see.
Yeah, but we have, and they're coming and going, but we have had 42 people come in and watch us. And we have currently 8, I guess, in the chat.
So you were talking before about the book club and what the library is looking at. And I've had that, with librarians asking me that they have a book of the month. And I think we talked about that a long time ago, where the lessons would constantly change every week, but the title, because of the title of the book and the way that the picture was on the cover. So there's something that I was thinking of that would be pretty cool, is to create a reason for students to read, right? So if after every 15 pages there was an endorsement or a new thing like a popped up so that they can scan it, but they have to go to the next 15 pages to get to the next level, almost like a game where they're earning points, or interactive questions, or it could just be like, great job. That would be pretty cool to get our kids to start reading a little bit more, because they just don't know what the next interactive 15 pages is going to be. And
so would that be like a general trigger that they have to scan after 15 pages, or something that is tied directly to that book?
Well, so that's something that can be done where if the teacher is doing it or the librarian's doing it, they can create their own triggers and put it as a little sticker at the beginning of a chapter, right? Or they can just have a paperclip saying, so the kid knows when the next event is going to happen by looking at the paper clips that are colored, or even just the chapter pictures. Sometimes the books have chapter pictures, so they augment that, and you can do that relatively easy. But it's that book club of the month. It's getting them active. They can earn points when they get done. They have like a giant party going on that's blowing up, with fireworks and screaming and yelling. Like, great job. It's the littlest of things that let them keep following and looking forward to the next event. So
I have an outline that I've been working on for a couple of years. It spends a lot of time in the drawer, having been forgotten about, but I bring it out and dust it. A colleague that works at my school is doing quite well writing children's books. It's got about 20 or 30 publications. And if I don't do it, I know someone else is going to do it, and it's not going to be very far off in the future. But imagine a tactile book you hold in your hands and read the words on and look at the pictures. But there's simultaneously an augmented reality thread that goes through the entire story. Neither one of them can exist without each other, and the book will be half held in your hands and half delivered through some sort of global positioning device. I know it's coming, and I have an outline. I have an outline that works that. I am not a children's book author, to be certain, but I know we're going to see that probably sooner rather than later.
Yes, I totally agree that that's going to happen. Hi, Gene. Where are you?
Hi.
He's on the subway.
Oh, okay.
I'm on the Long Island Railroad. I'm on my way home. But I just wanted to jump on and say hi.
Are you in the beer car?
There's a beer car?
Am I
Sure.
in the beer car? There is no longer any beer car.
No kidding.
I think they're all beer cars, really.
Okay, Country Girl has never been on a train, so I can't tell you. I did ride the Owl in Chicago. Does that count?
Yes. Although that's not a commuter train per se. Gene's on a good old commuter train. How long's your ride, Gene?
Counting the subway, it's about 2 hours each way.
Oh, wow. You're dedicated. Getting up that early to go to work?
Yes.
Okay, I won't tell you that my drive is only 2 minutes.
Don't rub it in, Katie Ann.
But in 4 minutes, you leave the town. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Katie Ann, did you get your access problem at school fixed
Mhm.
in terms of
We-
whitelisting stuff?
Yeah, we finally, because it was blocking any app that had a reader, like Quiver, any of the AR apps in the QR code, and they finally, the company, I'm pretty sure it was the company finally figured out the problem that was causing it, because they said try it and it worked. I'm like, yes, and then I tried it with all of them and it was all open, so it finally worked. It took a while, but it finally worked.
I just don't want to miss my stop. You saw me looking out the window.
Oh, it's okay. Sounds like you got a kid in the car.
So, yeah, they're like up a ways. The car's pretty empty.
Hey, why don't you
I'm kind of
why don't you rope the conductor down here and we'll see if we can augment the train schedule for him.
You scan it, you got it. Yay! Watch the train go as it stops too. That would be fun. So, what kind of projects are you working with? You're back to school, right?
I'm back to school and I am the tech person still.
Yay!
Yes, and I'm also going to be doing after school, and I hope to do a lot of AR with my kids in after school.
Awesome. And you know how to get a hold of me if you need help.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Gene, you're in District 75, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, and I haven't met with my district yet, but I plan to tell them all about that and see if maybe they'll have you come in and give a talk.
I was actually going to say and I appreciate that, but Jean actually works with a tough population, and you know, her population, I'm sure she could tell you, you know, dealing with special education. What's the response that you get from special education students on, yeah, especially with the population you're working with the augmented reality, just the change up, whatever the platform is?
Well, in terms of AR, they love it. They love it. They're just like totally wowed by it. They want to do more.
Oh, I think we lost her.
They say, "Can we do that again?" Usually, the kids are reluctant
Oh.
to do work, and they try to work every chance they can. It's really great.
So is your district like inner city New York?
You guys, you're
She is.
She is?
Yeah.
Okay. That would be a hard bunch of kids to work with.
We're through
We're
a
all waiting
tunnel.
for her to respond back.
Oh, it's okay. It's been a late night. I can't believe she's just now going home. Christy says, Adam, my school is paying for me to go to CLMS Tech conference in January, putting in an application to present AR. Awesome. And if you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me, Christy. Good, Doug, you replied to that too. Awesome. Okay.
And
Are there any?
Christy, if you need
Go ahead.
anything as well, just let me know.
She's one of our ambassadors.
Yeah,
She has stuff. Yeah. Didn't you talk with her the other day?
I did.
Or maybe. Okay, I
great.
thought so.
It was a great conversation. Absolutely. It's so great to be able to talk to, you know, I think educators from all over should talk to other educators in other states and other locations. We sometimes live in our little circles and we're always just focused on our shell. So we're like the tortoise in the shell, and we never, you know, we have our classroom and we have our school. That's our community. But I think it's so fascinating to just be able to talk to other educators and see what they're doing, whether it's with augmented reality, differentiation of instruction, what kind of curriculum they're using. And it's amazing to be able to get all those ideas and be able to put it or bring it to my staff or to what we do. I think it's awesome.
It's shocking often. I'm just shocked by the things I hear from other educators, either about how much better things are or how much worse things are or how different things are. But it seems like our experiences are all singular and totally different from everybody else's.
I agree. Because I talk with teachers from all over, even, you know, in Australia and the UK. And I found out the UK and us are pretty same. We have the same problems. But Australia, it's amazing what they are doing and what they're trying to do in the way of education. So it's just different. I love talking and sharing with other teachers and learning what they're doing. Christy says, Doug, I haven't developed a lot on my own yet. My big thing I want to do is do an interactive notebook. Yay! For social studies. I've been using different existing AR triggers. So I would love to help you, Christy, create an interactive notebook for social studies. I have lots of great ideas because I was going to do that this year if I had to teach social studies. You know how to get a hold of me. So just holler and I can give you some help with that.
Is anybody having a weather event today?
No?
Massive flooding going on here in Maine.
We got a hurricane coming.
Yes.
I was going to say, there was a tropical storm last night, but apparently it's a hurricane now.
Yeah, it's
Juanita or Juana, I don't know.
Yeah, it moved up. So we'll see what happens.
Where's it headed, Adam?
What's that?
Where's it headed?
It is heading towards us, towards me.
Towards New York?
Yeah, towards New Jersey, New York. New Jersey, it's supposed to hit pretty hard, and that's where
That's where the landfall model is now in New Jersey?
That's what I heard. I mean, listen, you hear everybody. I haven't even had time to pay attention to where it is. But it's supposed to, they're predicting it to be a pretty big storm. So.
Mm.
So how far are you away from the coast?
I'm about 20 minutes from the Jersey Shore. So where it's supposed to hit, I'm pretty close to it, I guess. You know, we'll see.
Maybe some flooding.
Lots of rain. Can't wait.
I live in Kansas.
Yeah.
We don't have that problem.
It rained 4 inches today, and I live on a river. I'll just leave it at that. So.
Oh, God.
Gene, of course you're close to the shore if you're going off to Long Island. So hopefully everybody stays safe.
You guys have flood insurance.
Oh, Katie. Did you see Christy's comment? Says Katie Ann's 888 get me AR. That's my new phone number.
That's great.
Or my new hashtag. Oh, I've been called lots of things, so that's the first. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and call it the night. I am tired. And I have people coming and begging me. So, Ethan, I'm going to go. Before you hear my mom's voice come out.
Before you leave, Katie.
Yes.
When do we get to cash in all these little bubbles?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Eagle stamps or something out of these, right? I'm dating myself, I know, but yeah. What's with all, it's kind of something has to come of this.
I don't know. They're like high fives. I think when I'm done recording, it says how many each person got high fives. I don't know if we're trying to beat each other. All right, I'm going to go now so I can stream.
Night,
I'll
guys.
see you later.